Welcome to Breaking Sales, a podcast dedicated to helping you have tough, meaningful, and rewarding conversations with your prospects and clients. In meaningful, what we mean is these are the conversations you truly feel like you are the prospect or client's conversational peer. There's no anxiousness or uncertainty holding you back. You feel a sense of calm and confidence in asking the tough questions. You're not thrown off by the bad news, and you expect the prospect to think about and invest into the conversation as much as you do. On Breaking Sales, we use the filter of psychology and innate human behavior to deconstruct the many misleading sales approaches that actually work against your efforts to build trust and close the business. Let's get started. The majority of professionals have some kind of daily routine, but there's a difference between going through the motions and being deliberate about how you're setting up yourself mentally and physically for the day to come. That difference is easy to overlook, but the truth is that we don't just show up ready to perform at a high level. We need a structure that allows us to bring our best forward and feel a sense of fulfillment when the day is over. Pam and I have both spent a lot of time figuring out what that structure looks like for each of us. Today, we're going to be talking about what we do each day to stay sharp and how we manage the voices in our heads that try to push us away from what we know we need to do and what we want to accomplish. Hey, Pam.
Morning, Dan.
I'm glad you got the Lappin 180 memo about wearing blue today.
Always. I own more blue than anything else in my wardrobe.
Same. And I remember there was, like, this is years ago, Pam, we took a picture of the team, you and I, and we all had blue on. And I remember just getting emails from people left and right. What do you guys, like the blue team?
Yes, remember? And somebody commented it looked like we were going to a coordinated prom. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So today I want to talk about something really important, but not because of pressure. I want to talk about how a lot of times I try to structure things so I can feel the best about my day. Like, how do I bring out the best in me? Not because I feel like I have to, but because I want to, right? So it's this feeling of fulfillment. And I started thinking about it in some of my coaching sessions about what are the things that we all do that help us, if we choose, to be that best version of ourselves, so that when the day is over, you can look back on that day and you feel a sense of fulfillment for the day. And it's not because of an outcome. It's not because you did this or you won that or this happened. It's because you know you gave it your best to be that next best version of yourself, because it's something you choose to do. And so I started thinking about all the ingredients that add up each and every day to make that happen. So I'll kick it off, Pam, and let's get into it.
Okay.
All right, so it's going to seem rudimentary at first, but right, I know at this point with me that getting up at 5:15 is extremely important because it gives me a sense that I am out ahead. That's how I'm wired, and I'm going to capitalize on my day. And it sounds goofy, and I know people might say, hey, Dan, no way I'm getting up. That's fine. But for me, it helps me feel like I'm already starting ahead, which is momentum for me, and that's how my brain works. Then you're going to laugh, and I'm not kidding. Every day, once I get up, I have 8 ounces of water, sometimes more. And I look at my Whoop. I want to see, am I in the green? What is my REM? What is my deep? What was my resting heart rate? What was my variable heart rate? I do religiously every day. I look at that and I don't know why, but it motivates me. It's important to me.
Well, and you and I talk about this too. You know, if you are choosing to maximize how you show up every day, then you have to have some type of measurement to know that these things that you're trying and attempting to do are actually working. So I'm a big fan of making sure, okay, is this giving me the intended result that I thought it was going to give me? And I think that's a huge part of it. You've got to have some level of being able to say, okay, good. I can look at my recovery, my sleep, the things that I'm putting in place are working for me. I mean, I think that's a vital piece of it.
I think that's a big piece of it too. And I'm not saying any of our listeners have to go to that extent, but again, it helps me. I'm going to use the word build momentum early. Okay. Then I'll work out. It's an hour workout. It's down the street. I leave, I go. All right. It's a good workout, lots of sweat, heart rate goes up, everything. Love it. After that, I sometimes will stop at a Starbucks. All right. Probably about half the time, literally. And I'll have my journal in my car. I'll go into the Starbucks and I'll have some of my coffee and I'll write out some gratitude and I'll go through what my priorities are for that day. Like I'm always trying to get the top 3 to 5 priorities. And what I'll do is I'll asterisk the ones I know that cause me discomfort. I'm immediately aware that I want to embrace discomfort, even though there's a huge part of me that says, hey, have an easy day today, have fun today, right? I know I have to make sure I'm very deliberate in those discomfort areas.
Very cool.
I will immediately try to get my head on the uncomfortable. And then I'll just go through my mindset practice, which is I'll just remind myself of 5 or 6 things. These are things I say to myself. Sometimes I'll write them down, but just how I want to perform, what I want my mindset to be throughout the day. And I have to, because it's the same as working out. If I don't work out, right, I'll get out of shape or, you get weaker, right? You don't, your vital signs change. You have to work out to stay strong physically. Well, you have to do the mindset practice to stay strong mentally.
Agree.
It's just as important as the working out. And I enjoy it. Like, I don't look at this as a pain in the ass. I don't look at this as cumbersome or awkward anymore. I actually look at it like, okay, I feel great. I am momentum building as we speak, and it's 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah, makes a big difference.
It does. Now, the one thing that will change in that when I travel is the working out. I'll do 15 minutes and I do this little process in a hotel room for 15 minutes. So I still get one in, but it's just different. It's get the heart rate up a little bit, get myself moving. But that is something that does change when I travel.
And that's interesting. We're the complete opposite. So when I'm traveling is when I have the intense workouts. And when I'm home, I do the long walks outside. So that's our one shift. That's funny. That's our one shift.
When you're traveling, do you work out morning, night? Does it vary?
Morning, 5 a.m. morning. Dan, to your point about experimenting with how to make sure you're maximizing your ability to show up, I fought it for years because I would work out at night and my cortisol levels are very high. I'm just an anxious person. That's part of how I have to manage to reach my potential, is to manage that cortisol. It was just off the charts at night. And so I had to start getting comfortable with getting up in the morning and doing the workout. And I got to tell you, it is night and day different. It gives me tons of energy. It's the biggest thing I saw was when I went to the morning workouts when I'm traveling, it pushed momentum. I just feel so much more energy. When I'm home, it's got to be outside. Cause when you're traveling, a lot of times you're stuck. So I have to use the hotel gym. I'm like, okay, this will be the intense one because when I'm home, it's going to be outside and walking.
I was talking to someone this week about hotel gyms, and everybody, they were just shaking their head because they're like, it's so frustrating.
Yep. Yep. So I'm
I mean,
morning all the way on
yeah.
the physical prep.
Anything else you do in the morning that's pretty straight? Like
So
I don't want to say religious, but you're very structured on it.
I'm very structured about O'Brien McMahon, who's a friend of both of ours, Dan, introduced me to Wim Hof and the Wim Hof breathing and Wim Hof's cold showers, the last 2 minutes of your shower. For whatever reason, it is something that I absolutely see a difference. So the last 2 minutes, full cold, I do the Wim Hof breathing. I've been doing it for years.
Do you just turn the water straight or do you gradually get yourself
No,
there?
you just get it there. You go cold. The Wim Hof breathing, it's amazing. And it's funny sometimes because, I'm an anxious person and my brain's going there. So sometimes I would say maybe twice a month, I'll forget because my brain's already going and I forget to do it. And I actually sometimes think, should I just get in the back of the shower so I can do the cold too? That's how much it wakes you up in a way and just puts this like oxygen through your body. It's unbelievable. And so then I get out of the shower and you've just got this, wow, I just worked out. It was like, whew, okay. Now I take a shower. I do the last 2 minutes of the cold with the Wim Hof breathing. There's nothing like it for me. And I know it doesn't work for everybody, but it's something that I've not given up.
I mean, I've done cold plunging and it's phenomenal. On the shower piece, when you first started, what would you share with our listeners as a guide if they're going to experiment with this?
Do it in bits. So try to start with like just 15 seconds of cold and build it up. But I will tell you, Dan, it's funny. I mean, you and I both travel. I mean, how many times have you been stuck in a hotel where the hot water's not working? So like part of it too,
It feels like all the time.
Right. And you're just like, so now it's like even doing this little exercise in the morning of the 2 minutes. It's like, yeah, it doesn't even faze me if I can't get a hot shower at a hotel anymore, which before like I would cry because like, I can't deal with this cold, but you build it up. So you start 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute. And it's funny. And I think too, what I like about it, not only is it just completely energizing and just whew, but it's like, boy, I just did something pretty tough that not a lot of people can do or would do. And that feels good too for some crazy reason to me.
No, I buy into that. You are spot on. Doing something like that early, it does. It makes you feel like you're already taking steps, right? You're already achieving something. I agree.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you who are listening that are hockey players, you know the feeling, because how many times, after a practice or game would you walk into an old barn hockey rink shower and there's absolutely no hot water and it's as cold as the ice you just came off on?
Yeah, there you go. There's something about it. So that is definitely something that's part of mine that it is stuck for years now since O'Brien first introduced me to it. Years.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Do you do any journaling? Do you do any mindset practice?
So I do every year. I do this every year. I ask for a suggestion on a new gratitude journal. And I like the one that I've picked for this year. And I like it because it gives me prompts. So I used to do the ones where it would say, what are you grateful for in the morning? What are you grateful for at night? And I found myself writing down the same things. And while it's probably true that I am grateful for a hot cup of coffee and I am grateful that I get to be with, my clients today, but it was repetitive. And so this one I like this year because it's giving me prompts. It asks me a different question each morning and each night. So I play with like how I want to do the gratitude. I play with different journals, but that is definitely part of my mindset prep. But the other piece to me that I do that's very much like you is the self-talk. My big question to myself is, I can show up and make these people feel so special today, or I can show up and make them feel like, no, that wasn't great. Like that time with Pam wasn't great. She was off today. What was her problem? That's really important to me. I want people to know I'm excited to be there. I've chosen to be here. I don't see this as any type of sacrifice. I want to be here and they're going to feel it from me. Super important to me. So that's probably the biggest thing I do from the self-talk in the morning.
Yeah, you're like that in probably every aspect of your life. I mean, I've known you for a long time. And I'll even look at travel. You've been through, we all have, but you've definitely been through your share of just crappy, tedious, exhausting travel. But I know you, and every now and then you'll let it out a little bit. But for the most part, like, you don't share how crappy your travel can be very often, because I know your mindset is you don't want to dwell on that negative. You want to move past it and beyond it and just put it in the rearview mirror.
Absolutely. I don't want anybody to feel that from me. I want them to know I'm excited to be here. I'm happy to be here. And we're just going to have the best day because we're with one another. We're connecting with each other and we're having some tough conversations with each other. That's my biggest mindset prep.
I think for our listeners, and we'll get to it again in a little bit, it's just about making sure that you start to become aware of how are you coming into the day mentally. What is the narrative in your brain at that moment in time? What are you telling yourself? I would just start there. Just try to be aware of what are the narratives, what are the themes that you're telling yourself in the morning. Thanks for listening to Breaking Sales. If you're enjoying this episode, you might also enjoy episode number 171, Your Calendar is an Asset, the zero-sum approach to time management. I'll go into a little bit of a side thing here, but it's important. So how I structure my week, if I'm not traveling, is very specific. Now, it's taken me a while to get here. I'll thank you for a lot of it. So on Mondays for me, I am very specific. It's podcast, it's writing, it's book, it's any kind of like content, any kind of material, things like that in the morning and usually into the afternoon. And then Monday afternoons is my kind of, well, I'll call it my overlap, where it's my flex time. So if I have to reschedule someone, right, or if I have to do some one-off project or something, or if there's any remaining prep on something for the week, it's in the afternoon Mondays. But Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, it is straight out, if I'm allowed to say, balls to the wall. Zero sum. And I'll go till 6:30, 7 at night, from 7:30, 8 in the morning when my calls might start, because I'm trying to maximize my flow. I am trying to maximize those days heavily where I'm coaching. I'm in it. I got the mindset. I got my morning prep. That's what works for me. And then Fridays, it could be interviewing podcasts, recording podcasts, or interviewing guests, recording podcasts. Again, one-offs if I have to have someone who had to reschedule or something like that. And sometimes, like, how do I get up extra time on a project or something that I might have to prep for next week? So I bookend like that, but in the middle, it's just intense. It's boom, boom, boom. And I want to do it like that. Because it works for me. It's how I get that flow.
So, you and I have a very high urgency score in my 16 PF. And I have found this about myself. So my schedule is just a little different, obviously, because of my coaching. I like a very full day. I don't do well with downtime. And I've learned that about myself. And I like very full. I like zero sum every day. It keeps that natural urgency for me where I'm not overthinking, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Oh, it's right here. I know what I'm going to do. And that it keeps like my urgency, like, ooh, this is fulfilling because I'm such a highly urgent person. My one thing I do to just take that mental, you've been on, is my 15 minutes of nothing time. Every day, I have a place in every city. It's always after my coaching where I just go 15 minutes, nothing, just nothing. And sometimes I share this with my clients. Sometimes my 15 minutes of nothing time does more for me than a full night's sleep. I don't know how to describe it, but on certain days where it's been, to your point, balls to the wall, and I get that 15 minutes of nothing time, it's just unbelievable how it just It resets me. It gives me a different type of energy going into the evening. It's amazing. So that is like my one thing because I'm urgent all day, most days. Saturday mornings is when I take the pause. I move much slower. Jeff and I have a routine on Saturday mornings. We both do the work in the morning that, hey, these were things that were not urgent. I can get to them now, scheduling, follow up on some emails. I do it at my own pace. That's what a Saturday morning for me is for. The rest of the week, though, I like the high, let's go, let's go, let's go. And it's funny, Dan, I fought it for a long time. It really suits me. And understanding my urgency score has been one of the biggest things that's helped me in the past, I would say 3 to 4 years, more than ever, is knowing how I need to structure my day to keep that natural urgency like good for me.
Yeah, for our listeners, it's something you should experiment with. What is it that you can do in your calendar to use it as a true roadmap and asset for where you're trying to get to? Right? And it's not about high performance. It's not about being elite. If you choose not to be a leader, a high performer, that's absolutely fine. But how do you maximize your calendar and your schedule so that maybe each and every day, and definitely each week, you can walk away feeling that sense of fulfillment?
Yeah.
I look at what you describe, Pam, as a release. So that's Saturday morning, right? It's your release because you don't want to walk into the next week with any kind of mental weight.
Nope, I don't.
Exactly. So during the day, I do 2 breathing sessions. I'm trying to get my third in right now. I've been doing 2 breathing sessions for years where I do 5 minutes and 5 minutes. Sometimes it's 6 and 6. Every now and then it might be a little bit more, but I do those because they absolutely help me during the day. They help me take that pause, clears my mind, and it does give me energy. And it's just simple. I do 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes of it. I'm done. I feel rejuvenated. Our listeners have heard us talk about that, but
Yep. Oh, yeah.
right? We do it. So at the end of each day, because I don't want to bring weight with me, I make sure all my coaching follow-up is done at the end of every day. If there's a follow-up, if there's notes, if there's something, I do not want to leave without getting it done because I don't want it in my head. I don't want it on my to-do. I want to release it because I know the next day I'll be performing better. Right? So ending the day, I admit I am usually in bed by 9 p.m.
Oh, Dan, hello. Absolutely.
There are times I might be in bed by 8:30. I'm okay with it during the week. It works for me. But I read. I have found it helps my REM. It helps my my deep sleep. It helps my recovery. I read for fun. It's my release. Because if I have 10 meetings during the day, which is usually pretty common, I'm in 10 separate conversations, I have to release. I have to give my brain a chance just to enjoy something. So I will read anywhere between 30 and 45 minutes.
Very
and
nice.
It's really important. It works for me. Okay. So
to your point, the only thing I'm experimenting with in the evening, I play a lot with diet and exercise just because you and I both know I'm 109 years old now and I want to be able to do this job for as long as I want to do this job. So staying strong is extremely important to me. So when it comes, like I'm experimenting with what my diet looks like, how late, when do I stop eating at night to like help me not wake up at 3 a.m. with the cortisol. I experiment with all that all the time. The biggest thing I'm trying right now in my evening routine is to be able to shut off my brain. I'm doing the 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out, but right before I lay my head down. So put the phone away, set the alarm, the white noise, sit in the bed, and do that breathing 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out to like flush it all out so I can just go to sleep with nothing on my mind. I too many times still am ramping at night when I try to go to sleep. So I'm experimenting with how to shut my head off. That's the only thing really at this point that's important to me in my evening routine, because I've got it pretty wired down, like what I do in the evenings, except that piece. So I'm experimenting with how to go from, okay, shut down the email, get ready for bed, boom, so that there's a better transition for me to just fall asleep with nothing reeling in my head.
Yeah. And I think that's important for all of us to have something. I think the key word is you're experimenting, and so have I.
Yeah.
And that's what we all have to do, because things are going to work different for each of us. But you got to experiment with things that help you release, whether it's a journal dump where you just dump your thoughts for the day, whether it's if you go through what you got in your calendar tomorrow, so at least you know it's there and then you release it, right? Whether it's reading something, but you got to have something that can just help you lower the intensity.
That's a great way to put it. And that's the one thing, Dan, that I've found. So if any of our listeners want to tell me, I haven't figured that piece out yet. And I'm experimenting constantly on how to do this, but I haven't found anything that works for me yet. So it's the one piece that I keep trying new things to shut down that intensity.
It's something we all have to work on, because it's how you get the better sleep. And then it's how you wake up in the morning and you're fired up.
Exactly.
I mean, this past Monday, I woke up at 3:45 a.m. and I was like shot out of cannon. I was ready to go. My wife thinks I'm crazy. She thinks I'm a lunatic. But I don't know what happened. I woke up at 3:45. I was like 90% recovered on my Whoop, and it felt like I was shot out of a cannon. And it was awesome.
Here we go.
By the way, I'm not suggesting that we judge ourselves based on how early in the morning we get up. Let me be clear. We're all very different.
Yes, absolutely. To your point, this is if you're choosing to be able to bring your best out every day. If you're choosing, these are great things to start experimenting and trying.
You got it. You got it. Let's get to this last part in particular. All right. Obstacles. I know mine.
What are yours?
There's three themes for me that I have to be aware of, and I work on them, and it's a journey. I will never be perfect at them, but the more I work on them, the better I'm going to be at them. And I have made improvements. But my three obstacles every day are between the ears. First one, I have to avoid making decisions based on how I feel in the moment, especially when it comes to long days of coaching and writing. So the writing for me is work at times. And there are times I want to blow it off because I've had a long day, whatever. I've used a lot of brain power for me. Okay. And I can hear myself sometimes say, hey, are you really going to be effective? Maybe there's a better time to write. Maybe there's a better time where you'll feel better and you'll write easier because you're rejuvenated. And this might not be it. I'll hear the voice now. And I'll remind myself, hold on, it's not about being perfect. Let me just start writing and see if I can get a groove. So that's an example where I have to avoid blowing off the writing based on how I feel in that moment. Right.
That's why I love zero sum.
Well, yeah, I have it. But here's the thing, Pam, I can put it in my calendar, and I do, on zero sum, and that voice will still kick in.
I don't feel like doing this right now. That's what Jim would say. That's your lack of discipline, Pam.
Hey, listen, call whatever you want.
Right? You got to harden it. I know.
Listen, call whatever you want. It's true. It's real.
Very real.
So I have to work at it. I do. So that's one of my obstacles. And it can happen too with follow-up. Sometimes if I've had a really long day and I need to make 2 more phone calls, maybe tomorrow morning.
Oh, yeah. My
My next one is trying to be aware of discomfort. And I told you early in the morning, I try to asterisk or a highlight what I think my main discomfort activities will be for that day, because I want to embrace them. So I immediately know I need to make sure that I've got the right mindset behind them. So I'm targeting them early, and I'm working through embracing and changing my mental narrative on them so that I do them. Right? And what I've noticed about it is there's like levels. So I've gotten pretty good at a certain discomfort level. And then you kind of end up building, and you kind of realize there's other discomfort levels that you got to work a little harder at. And I'm okay with that, because it's almost like I feel like I'm strengthening a different type of muscle there, but it is a weakness. I have to really sometimes focus on discomfort, because my head will go, Dan, you had a lot of discomfort already today. Why don't you just chill out? You've got plenty of discomfort in your life right now. You got 4 kids. They're between 22 and 18 years old. That voice will kick in.
I'll bet.
But I try to work through that. Say, nope. Let's embrace this, because what I want is on the other side of it. So I've created some narratives now to help me make sure that I am embracing the discomforts that I need to embrace. But it's still something I got to really work on. And then the last one is identifying the narrative or voice of doubt.
Okay. So how is that different?
Just identifying it helps me overcome the discomfort. So like if the voice says, why are you writing that post? LinkedIn's a pain in the ass. LinkedIn's all about show and hype, and you got people on there now doing posts with sex appeal, and that voice will kick in on me, and I'll be like, you know what? No, I'm going to write the post and I'm going to put it out there, because it's not about LinkedIn. It's not about likes. It's not about followers. It's about being a consistent source for those who might need or benefit from our help. So the narrative of doubt was, why are you bothering? Because it wants to create the doubt, because once it creates the doubt, I won't do it. Versus the other narrative, which is, no, come on now. All right? There's a reason why you really should be doing it. And there's a reason why it matters.
That makes sense.
But I think that's a part of everybody's day, is trying to identify what the voice of doubt's telling us. Because once we hear the voice and we have the doubt, we pull back on the activity, the brain gets what it wants: safety. You cannot move forward if you are always allowing your brain to seek and accomplish safety.
Amen to that.
So what are your obstacles?
I would say my biggest obstacle is I'm trying to be more aware of when I need to find a new gear within my week or within my day. I sometimes convince myself I'm good. I got the energy. I'm ready. And it's like, whoa. I don't know about that. You might have to bring that little extra. I'm working hard to, especially when it's a full day, to your point of coaching, or I had gotten in late and still did the morning routine. I'm trying to be very sensitive about my obstacle. Is my energy waning? When do I need to find a gear throughout the day so that the morning version of Pam doesn't look different than the afternoon version of Pam? My obstacle is I want to be at the same level all day. And so I'm trying to be more cognizant of just what is my body, my head, what is it telling me that I think you need to give it a little bit more right now? What extra can you do right now? Because I don't think you're the version of Pam that was here 2 hours ago. That right now is my biggest obstacle.
Yeah, and for our listeners, the solution is not more caffeine.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not.
Or Adderall.
No, no. And it is. I'll find myself. So it's like you're breathing in the middle of the day. It's like, uh-oh, okay, time out. Like, is there a different version of Pam showing up this afternoon? Is there a little mental, like, can I go get my invisible coach and can he give me a pep talk right now to go into the second part of this day? I've got to be more aware of when I need to find a gear in the day. That's what I'm working on.
I love that. So wrapping up, again, I'm not going to apologize, and that's not what this is about. But you also have to understand, for our listeners, this isn't elite. You don't have to be if you don't want to be. I think it's more about how do you structure your day so you feel the best during your day and you walk away feeling your version of fulfillment. Okay, because everybody has their own version of that. But each and every day is just an opportunity for us to feel that way. We walk away, we close the laptop, or we go to bed. And how do we try to make sure that each and every day, to the best of our ability, we truly can do those things, end the day, and feel like we did and we were able to be that best version of ourselves based on how we define it and how it makes us feel. I think that's the important piece.
Well, and my challenge, everybody knows how I am. My challenge to people who sometimes say, Pam, I'm good. Okay. I'm good. How do you know? How do you know? Maybe you could even feel better. How do you know unless you maybe start trying some of this stuff? You just won't ever know.
It's funny. You said something earlier that I caught my attention. You're 109, all right? I'm 140, okay? But I find more than ever at 140 that it's really important for me to feel like I am doing everything I can to bring out that next best version of whatever good or great might be within me. And I don't have a boss necessarily, so it's not like I'm doing it for somebody else. I'm doing it because I want to do it. I want to be able to see how far I can go. All right, until next time.
Until next time.
We've talked a lot today about specific habits, journaling, working out, and breathing exercises, to name just a few. But this work isn't about one single action. It's about knowing yourself well enough to build a day that brings out your best and noticing what you're telling yourself in the moments when you want to pull back from doing the hard things. Not everyone's version of this will look the same, but when you get intentional about how you structure your day and work on challenging the stories your brain is telling you when things get uncomfortable, you give yourself a real shot at ending the day with a sense of fulfillment and accomplishment. Before we go, if you're receiving value from Breaking Sales, take a moment to rate and review us on Apple Podcast or Spotify and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. It helps us reach more people who are ready to think and perform differently. Thanks for joining us.